Mike Shildt. So yesterday, the main talking points: 6 former managers on the staff. Ryan Barba will organize spring training, be kind of like the chief of staff with scheduling, the communication with the other teams on the lineups, communication with the grounds crew. When are they taking BP and fielding and all that little stuff? So what Mike Shildt is doing here, like there's talk about how there's no one bench coach. I don't think that should be that big of a talking point because, I mean, this is just how baseball is nowadays. There's some teams that don't have the traditional bench coach. There's some teams that do, but then they don't have a hitting coach, right? Like this year, Padres, they have a hitting coach with Victor Rodriguez, who used to be with the Red Sox, the Guardians, or Indians back then, but they don't have a bench coach. Last year, they had, I guess, a bench coach, associate manager Ryan Christensen under Bob Melvin, but they didn't have a hitting coach. Although we knew that it was Ryan Flaherty, and then there were some other guys, including Morgan Burkhart. So Ryan Barba organized spring training, chief of staff. He gave the example of how he can simultaneously have Mike McCoy, who's going to be one of the coaches on staff, not that Mike McCoy, but the one that has been with the Padres, have him get a pinch hitter ready, prepared for whoever is going to be on the mound for the opposing team, while Barba, let's say, can get a pinch runner ready and get him ready for, okay, how fast does this guy throw over? Does he throw over? Is he comfortable throwing over? What's his time to the plate? What does this catcher's arm look like? Instead of having like the traditional bench coach who he's talking to, who it seems like could be Brian Esposito, who could be the dedicated guy Shildt talks to about game strategy and not have him be interrupted in other areas where he has to go get someone ready to go. That all can be happening at the same time. So I don't think it's that big of a deal not having a bench coach, and I think Mike Shildt explained that pretty well. Shildt talked with Terry Francona, former manager, obviously, probably going to the Hall of Fame, raved about Victor Rodriguez, the hitting coach for the Padres, who Shildt has known since he was 12, because Shildt has background of being around minor league baseball parks, because I think his dad or someone in the family worked in minor league baseball, so he was always around. Shildt also said Vasquez, Brito, King will be in the conversation to start. I mean, I'm leaving the door open to Vasquez being the 5 starter, him or Avila, or they share time as the 5 starter if the Padres can't get a couple of arms that are like big league, yes, guaranteed in the rotation. Maybe they only get 1 arm, and then they spend money on a bat in the outfield. They spend money on another bat, first base DH. We'll see. But yeah, I'm not surprised. Of course, they're going to be in the conversation. Even if they had some starters, they would be in the conversation because you have to leave that door open. There are possibilities in spring training where these guys could shove and they could impress. And what if someone gets hurt in spring training? What if Musgrove drops a kettlebell on his toe? What if someone, I don't want that to happen, obviously. I hope that Joe Musgrove's going to get Cy Young votes this year. Like, I really hope that. But things happen. Things definitely happen in spring training. Or it could happen in the offseason. Someone could get hurt today during a workout. So you just never know. You can never have enough pitching. I remember Jesse Agler. He came on my show. He was the first guest I ever had on this show. Maybe some that for some reason you were listening to me back then when I didn't really have an audience, but this was years ago, 2021. I didn't have like this YouTube show. It was me recording Jesse Agler on my phone and recording it, I think, to my laptop, or maybe it was my iPad, but it was definitely not this. Like I've advanced for sure with this show. But in that interview, this was when Mackenzie Gore was still on the team. I think maybe he was just debuting, and I was talking about needs for the Padres, and you can never have enough pitching, and that always stuck in my head. You can never have enough pitching. Oh, we're good on pitching? No, we're never good on pitching. It may seem we're good on pitching, like for the bullpen for example, it seems like we're good there with the bullpen, but the Padres should still add some depth arms that could pitch in AAA El Paso, just in case. Maybe Luis Patino is going to go down to AAA El Paso. Maybe Adrian Marjone's going to be down there. Maybe they bring in other guys that have been in the organization or other guys that are not with other organizations to be down in AAA El Paso, because you always need that depth, because you never finish a season with the same 13 guys on the pitching staff that you had on opening day. Remember last year, Domingo Tapia, right? How long did that last? And Ray Kerr coming up and down. there's injuries that happen. You know, Steven Wilson gets hurt, and then Tom Cosgrove, he ends up pitching pretty well at times during the year. Like just different guys. Robert Suarez had the injury, and then he comes back, and that affects things. So you can never have enough pitching. And then obviously in the rotation last year, Waldron was pitching some games. Avila was pitching some games. Jackson Wolf made that start, I think, in Detroit. So you can never have enough pitching. So yeah, of course, getting back to Shildt, Vasquez, Brito, King will be in conversation to start. Of course, he's going to say that. And they should be in the conversation to start. And then one other thing that he said, third base coach Tim Leeper is like a human Red Bull, so a lot of energy. So that's good. Obviously, big league coaching experience. He's known Tim Leeper for a while. I think he said like 2015, something like that. He has experience coaching for Team Canada. So it seems like this is a good Mike Shildt coaching staff. And that's what I want. Like, we might not know a ton about these names, but it was important for the Padres. And it seems like it was important for Mike Shildt to have some guys that have been in the Padres organization come up, be with the big league coaching staff. And look at Mike Shildt's career. I mean, he was with the Cardinals for a long time before coming up. So I think he appreciates those guys that are down there at the minor league level. And it's like, these guys can help. I was able to help with the Cardinals. I know what I'm talking about. These guys know what they're talking about, and they can help with some of the younger guys that will probably have to come up at some point in 24, in 25 to help this team at the big league level, because the Padres, the payroll situation is different than what it was in years prior. So that's mainly what Mike Shildt, those were some of the takeaways from Mike Shildt's presser yesterday.